Hello, N4H&H here with, I guess, sort of a bulletin of a video. One of my Patreon team members, KB9JQU, Kurt, has been such a good friend to this channel. And he's helped me out with the PDF for the FTDX10, for example, verifying update instructions and working with microphone EQ for various different mics. And Kurt let me know today that Elecraft is running right now, according to their website, they're running a special, free shipping on their amplifier. So I wanted to let you know that. Kurt, I don't think he'll mind me telling you this. He took my advice and bought the Elecraft KPA-500 and KAT-500 combo. That's a 600 watt amplifier, even though it's called a 500. The KPA-500 actually is a 600 watt amplifier. And then the KAT-500 is the matching tuner. It sits on top of the tuner. The tuner's not very tall, but it happens to be perfect for the amplifier to sit on. And the amplifier is about the size of the one you see there. That's the KPA-1500. That's a two-piece. Let me zoom out and show you. What I'm saying is that well, if you look over here, there's the other piece. That's the power supply, because the solid state amps need 50 volts DC for the final output transistors. So get back up here on the there's my old trusty AL80B. He's been with me for 22 years now. Still got the original tube. But this is just much more convenient. I mean, no tune. And what I wanted to show you is the functionality you'll get with and by the way, Elecraft does not sponsor my channel. They have no idea that I'm telling you this. But the cool thing about their amps, not just their solid state no tune, but the tuner it'll spoil you. Because and I'm gonna illustrate this in a minute. If you've watched my videos that I did about the ballons, the two different ballons I was trying out for my doublet antenna a while back, you would have seen this in action. But this video, really, I just want to talk about the amp and tuner itself. Now, with the KPA-1500, that's the legal limit amp, the tuner is built in. Now, you may have, if you've watched those videos I just referred to, you will notice that I showed you their software will let you know on any particular band what your limitation is for power output. And the reason for that limitation is it has to do with how far out the antenna was in SWR. So, for example, up to a 3-to-1, the built-in tuner in this amplifier can match it and allow full legal limit. Above a 3-to-1 SWR, then it's going to have to be derated. Now, their free software that I've shown in the videos in the past, and I'll train the camera on it right quick. It's over here on the, let me move the camera. It's on this screen here. See, look down there in the lower left, you'll see it says power limit not applicable, NA. Well, the reason for that is right now, and this is pretty cool, I'm on the 40-meter band, and the tuner has gone to antenna port 1, and it's in bypass mode because, antenna port 1 goes over to this antenna switch, and that antenna switch right now is pointing at G5RV. Ignore the old sticker there that says 160 meter. That's no longer the case. And it's not even a G5RV there anymore. It's actually a ZS6 Bravo Kilo Whiskey, ZS6BKW. Well, so on this particular band, no tuner is required. So that's why the power limitation says not applicable. But now I'm going to switch over to the 20-meter band, and let me let you watch the amp as I do this. So I'm over here on the FTDX10. I'm going to press my band button, and I'm going to press 14. Did you hear that click? Now the tuner is on antenna port 2, and the ATU, the built-in antenna tuner, okay, let's all agree, it's not really tuning the antenna, it's matching the impedance of the antenna and the, in this case, the output of the amplifier. But they're commonly referred to as an ATU, antenna tuner, but notice it's no longer in bypass. And then look up here, my limit, fortunately, look at this. My doublet is close enough that I can still output legal limit with 20 watts to spare. You see there, ATU power limit. So I can still do legal limit with the built-in tuner on this amplifier using my doublet. Now remember, in the previous video I pointed out that the key to that was the 4-to-1 balun that I got from Balun Designs for that doublet. Now as you move around to other bands, it will limit you more. Let me see, let me go to 160. See, now look at there, it knows to go to antenna port 2, which, by the way, let me just say, antenna port 2 is the doublet. Antenna port 1 is whatever I've got switched here. It could be and it most often is the G5RV position, which is a ZS6BKW. I just haven't relabeled that. But you'll see there antenna port 2. This amp has 2 antenna ports. Now I'll talk about the AT-500 in a minute. It has 3 antenna ports. It's really convenient, and that's one of the things that that Kurt was telling me he's so impressed with. He's got 2 antenna switches, and he's got nothing hooked up to him right now because he's spoiled by having 3 antenna ports. So why is it changing antenna ports? Well, whatever the last antenna was that you used on that band, it is assuming that that's your favorite antenna for that band. It may not be, but it's going to return to the last used antenna. And that's a menu selection, by the way. And not only does it do that, it loads that antenna and turns on the tuner if I was using the tuner the last time I was on that band, and loads a preset for that band. Now, when I say a preset, you go through and do a tuning cycle with about 20 watts of power on AM, about every 25 kilohertz. It remembers that. So the next time you go to that band, it's gonna pick one of those. It's actually what it appears to me is it's doing is picking the one for the ones that were last used. The relay the relays switch in the capacitance inductance networks to provide the last match that I used on that band. But if I transmit on a frequency, if I tune the dial to something radically different than what I used the last time I was on that band, the frequency counter that's built into the tuner will detect that transmitting on a different frequency than I was the last time I was on this band, and it'll quickly, like in the just a blink of an eye, it will load the tuning parameters for that frequency. So really, I don't even get to finish my first word, and it's already tuned. So you don't even think about it. You just let the FTDX10 through one single cable go over and talk to basically the tuner and the amp simultaneously. Okay, let's look at the limitation. So in order for my doublet, which is 250 feet of wire fed in the middle with ladder line, in order for it to be tuned with this amplifier's built-in tuner, I'm allowed up to 1400 watts. And again, that's just a limitation of how high the SWR is coming in from that antenna, so therefore how much the tuner had to work to find a match. So I have to hold the power down to 1400. All right, look, if you've watched my video about S meters and decibels and amplifiers, you may recall that you get most of your benefit from an amplifier in the first 400 watts. That's 6 dB on a calibrated S meter. You go from 100 to 200, that's 3 dB. 200 to 400, that's another 3 dB. And that's about an S unit on a calibrated S meter. To get that second S unit, you actually have to go to 1600 watts, even more than what this amp can do it, but more than what would be legally allowed. So, I mean, if you look at see the LEDs there, they call that the speedometer. That's what reads out the, you can see an exact power level here in the display, but then these cool LEDs, let me transmit into the dummy load, and there we go. I'm forcing it over to the antenna switch with no tuner, so I can use the dummy load here. All right, so the radio is currently set to put out 12 watts, and let's see what we're getting in power. Hello. Oh, gotta enable the amp. There we go. N4 H&H testing. Now let me do that again, but I'm going to let you watch their software, which is really nice. I have it right up in front of me on that display. N4 H&H testing. N4 H&H testing. Hello, hello, hello. So you see I'm getting about right just under 500 watts with 12 watts of drive. So, and again, see now it says not applicable because, well, I'm not using the tuner. I'm in bypass mode. So that makes sense. Now I'm going to flip back over here, go to another band. I'll go to, let me move this out of the way. Sorry, moving the camera around a lot. I'm going to hit my band key here, and I'll go to 3.5. You see the amp switched over quicker than I could get the camera to it, but hopefully you heard the click. So now it knows that for 3.5 megahertz, I want to use the doublet antenna, antenna 2, and I need the tuner to be engaged. Now, here, believe it or not, I've got a little bit more of a limitation, 1025, okay? But honestly, I just told you, that first 400 watts makes the biggest difference, okay? And I generally run 500 to 600 watts, just between you and me and the fence post, okay? So that brings me to the KPA-500, okay? Those of you who've been watching my channel know I won this amp at an auction. It was brand new in the box, but it was being auctioned off because the gentleman was having a lot of health problems, and I won't go into any more detail, but I got this at an auction, and I was totally blessed. But if I was actually going out and buying one, the best deal going is the KPA-500, which can put out 600 watts, okay? 600 watts of power. So you've got that, the punch that you get from that first 400 watts, and then you got a little spare. And the tuner, the accompanying tuner for it, the KAT-500, can match, get this, up to a 10-to-1 SWR and still allow 1,000 watts through it if you have an amp that can do 1,000 watts. So in other words, the KAT-500 tuner can handle all the power that a KPA-500 would produce, which, between you and me and the fence post, it'll do about 630 if you drive it hard enough. You don't need it. We've run some tests. Some of the guys I've recommended buy it, and we've looked at what's it like on the S meter with 400 watts and what's it like with 630. You really can't see much difference. But you know, and the audio is the same. You know, it's that punch that you're going to get from that 400 watts. So, and it'll run on 120 volts AC. This requires 240 volts AC. There's no option for any less. It has to have 240 volts going to that power supply over there, so that it can produce 50 volts with enough current to drive this amplifier, the RF deck as it's called. So, with the KPA-500, you get everything in one box. And I know it sounds like a salesman for Elecraft, and I'm not. They have no idea I'm doing this. I just got to tell you, when I see a good deal, I want to share it with you. It'll produce that 630, but I didn't say that. It'll produce it with 120 volts, it's regular wall outlet, no problem. Now, to be clear, right now, what they're offering is the amp comes shipped free if you buy just the amp. Now, they are selling a combo where they put the amp and the KAT-500 tuner together as a combo. You don't get free shipping, but what they have been doing is giving you a free cable, the $60 cable that connects, in this case, the FTDX10 to the amp, and then you get all this automation that you're seeing me do here. Notice I haven't done a tuning cycle. I've already gone through and 20 watts AM, and I've let it memorize every 25 kilohertz on every band. So, you know, when I change bands, I can just start talking. All those clicks you're hearing take care of everything. The only thing left to do is press my foot switch here that I use to transmit the rig, but it actually sends the transmit signal to the amp over the same cable. So there are no moving parts, no relays, other than when you hear it change bands. but from the radio to the amp, no relay. So I'm just excited to be able to share things like that with you folks who watch my channel when I hear of a good deal. And thank you, Kurt, for letting me know about the free shipping. And yes, I did call Elecraft, and I verified that it is for the amp, not the amp and tuner combo. But with the amp tuner combo, don't forget to ask for your free cable. I hope they're still offering that. Like I said, it's a $60 value, and it'll put this on total automation. I'm so spoiled by it. Those of you who have been watching the channel for a while know that the reason I'm using the tuner in the amp now is because my Palstar tuner failed, but okay, it was almost 20 years old. Yeah, I will eventually get it fixed, but I'll probably never use it again. I'm so spoiled rotten by this functionality here of just changing bands and talking and letting the amp take care of everything. And like I said, the combo will do the same. It's just you'll have two pieces. The amp will sit on top of a tuner that's not a whole lot thicker than that gap you see there between the AL80B amplifier here on bottom and the KPA-1500. It's a short thing, and it sits on it, and then the tuner, what happens is the cable from the radio goes to the tuner, and then there's another cable goes between the tuner and the amplifier, and so the two work as one. And you have 3 antenna ports on the tuner, so just like what you saw with mine, it will remember your favorite antenna port, whatever one you last used for a particular band, and it'll switch to that antenna when you go to that band. Okay, so hey, I just wanted to pass that along. Hopefully they'll run this sale for quite a while, and some of you will be able to get in on the package if you're, anticipating buying an amp or buying a tuner. Well, to me, the greatest is to let both be one. It's fewer cables in the shack, and you don't have the us versus them when you have a problem. The tuner company says, no, it's a problem with your amp, and the amp company says, no, problem with your tuner. Get it all from the same source, and well, one place, one phone call, and that's all you have to deal with. All right, hey, thanks to my Patreon support team. Thank you, Kurt, who's a member of that team, KB9JQU, for passing the tip along to me so I could pass it along to you. And if you'd like to become a member of the Patreon support team, go to www.patreon.com/N4HNH. And I'll put that on the screen at the bottom there. And of course, please, if you would like the video, that helps us out with the YouTube search algorithm. And also, if you would subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, click the notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video, usually once a week, sometimes twice a week. Okay, hey, thanks again for watching, and 73 from N4HNH.